The red button shuts off gas input for the student stations. It does not shut off the instructor station or the vent hoods.
The safety shower is used for large chemical spills on clothing or fire.
All clothing must be stripped. The eye wash is used in case of chemical splashes. The affected eye must be held open, immersed in water for a period of 15 to 20 minutes.
Multiple locations in the lab allow for prompt assistance. After using the eye wash, the individuals should seek medical attention immediately.
The Material Safety Data Sheet, MSDS for short, contains information about chemicals used in this lab room. The exit doors are properly identified. In case of a large fire, the lab phone should be used to dial 5555 and notify the proper authorities. Both instructor and students must evacuate the lab. The room purge should be used to remove the smoke and reduce the amount of oxygen in the laboratory, and thus extinguishing the flames. Fume hoods are often used when dealing with hazardous reactants or products, corrosive, carcinogenic, flammables, etc.
The experiment should be performed using the glass doors as physical barriers. These kits are used for minor cuts and minor burns only. Make sure to open the lid before discarding the waste so there are no spills.
Should a spill occur, notify your instructor immediately. Waste is being treated differently so it can be neutralized accordingly.
This box should only be used for broken, chipped, or cracked glass. No trash, please. If a small fire occurs, notify the instructor. If immediate action is required, use the fire extinguisher.
Remember the acronym PASS. The fire extinguisher in this lab is a chemical powder extinguisher, suitable for all kinds of fire. While in the laboratory, safety glasses or goggles must be worn at all times. Goggles or safety glasses are not designed to protect your forehead or throat.
If your eye protection fogs up, leave the lab, remove the condensation, and return to the lab.
Loose hair can catch on fire and/or obstruct vision. Always tie up your hair before starting the lab.
Avoid loose-fitting clothes. They can catch on the corners of the lab counter or catch on fire.
Do not wear lanyards, long necklaces, scarves, or hats. Always wear closed-toed shoes. It is everyone's job to think of ways to prevent minor and/or major incidents in the labs. Do not remove the twist ties. Do not fool around. Do not play practical jokes.
The working area should not be cluttered. On the lab counter, you should have the lab manual, a calculator if needed, pencil or pen, and the lab materials / equipment. Your cell phone should be in your pocket, backpack, or purse. Backpacks and/or purses should be stored out of the way. Your laboratory drawer should only contain equipment listed in your inventory sheet and possibly your goggles or safety glasses.
Your movement should be slow and purposeful. If you are carrying something, make sure you hold it with both hands and walk with your elbows down. Be aware of your surroundings.
Read the labels and be sure you are using the correct chemical substance in the correct concentration. Some written formulas are very similar, and the chemical behavior almost always will be quite different. Higher concentrations intensify the characteristics of the chemical substances.
Chemical substance should not be tasted, but sometimes their smell should be classified. Instead of deeply inhaling, waft.
Eating or drinking in the laboratory is not allowed. If you must eat or drink, you will have to ask permission to leave the laboratory and to do so outside. Food and drink can become contaminated in the laboratory.
Familiarize yourself with the lab procedure before coming to lab. Separate the material and equipment you will need before starting the lab. For example, if you are heating glassware, you will need a wire gauze, which will allow the glass to cool down and not crack.
Inspect the glassware you're about to use. Make sure there's nothing cracked, chipped, or broken due to closing or opening the drawer abruptly. Discard the glassware appropriately and request a replacement from your instructor. Inspect all equipment to be used and make sure it's working properly before you start. Notify the instructor if needed.
Sometimes you will need to use materials that are not found in your drawer, such as a thermometer clamp to hold a thermometer in place, or a test tube clamp to hold a test tube. Your instructor will direct you on how to set these up.
Your instructor will inform you on how to dispose the waste properly. Don't assume you can discard every lab waste in the sink.
The balance you have used throughout the procedure should be cleaned properly. Residue on or under the balance plate can cause corrosion, which diminishes the balance lifetime and causes reading error. Glassware and well plates should be cleaned with water and soap before storing in the drawer. Finally, lab counters should be cleaned before exiting the lab.